Hello and welcome to Just Therapist Things, where we talk all things therapy. My name is Jordan and I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist from sunny California. I currently work at a private practice where we focus on child anxiety reduction, and I also work for a nonprofit cancer support organization. Thanks for listening. Hello and welcome to the first episode in my series of Diagnosing, where I, a licensed marriage and family therapist, analyze and, if necessary, diagnose fictional characters from TV and movies. Disclaimer, this podcast episode is just for entertainment purposes, not meant to be used to diagnose and treat real people. Overdiagnosing is a big issue, so I'm only analyzing and diagnosing based on how the character presents on television or in a movie, and if it warrants a diagnosis, in my professional opinion. Trigger warning, in this episode, I do discuss difficult subject material such as violence, self-harm, suicidality, among other mental health concerns. Please listen with caution. Also, side note that I recently had COVID, so that accounts for the slight delay in getting this episode out. And also, you may still hear it in my voice a bit, so apologies for that. If you have not watched The OC, you gotta watch. It's a show that aired from 2003 to 2007 with 4 seasons and a total of 92 episodes. It's currently on Hulu, Max, formerly known as HBO Max, Amazon Prime Video, and Apple TV. This show follows a group of teens as they navigate the challenges and wild times of living in Orange County, California. I love this show, and I've probably watched it 3 times all the way through. It's such a feel-good show, and also with a ton of drama. A lot of crazy things happen. This show is super fun for me also because they film in the South Bay in Southern California, where I grew up, so I see a lot of hometown beaches and restaurants and things like that while watching. You probably already assume this, but just big FYI that this podcast episode will have spoilers. So, Mr. Oliver Trask, where do we even begin? Oliver only makes an appearance in season 1, and honestly, 1 season of Oliver is enough. Oliver's story includes all the main characters, but mainly Marissa Cooper, who is the troubled it girl. I will definitely be doing an episode on her in the near future. Oliver and Marissa met in a therapy waiting room and formed a weird dependent friendship, or so Marissa thought was just a friendship. It is implied when they met that Oliver was a therapy regular and that he was getting treatment for his challenges, but it was never explicitly said in the show what his diagnosis was. Here is an audio clip from the first time they met.
I came here 3 times before I actually walked through that door. I know you. You go to Harbor, right?
Marissa Cooper. Hi.
Yeah, you're the girl at school who organizes things. Parties and stuff, right?
Social chair is what that's called. You go to Harbor?
No, I go to Pacific. Oliver Trask. For a social chair. Well, I don't find you to be very social at all. I'm gonna have to talk to somebody about a recall.
This is a psychiatrist's office. It's kind of embarrassing.
Yeah, you're right. This is totally embarrassing. So let's suggest the obvious and move on. What's wrong with you?
As heard in this audio, Oliver presents as charming, funny, witty, wealthy, and exhibits a shared understanding of mental health issues. It seems that he uses this shared experience and Marissa's vulnerable state to begin his abusive behavior. Oliver and Marissa start to become friends, and he's brought into Marissa's friend group with Summer, Seth, and Ryan. Pretty much right away, Oliver started exhibiting problematic behaviors by isolating Marissa from her friends, family, and boyfriend, stalking her, and making her feel guilty for not hanging out with him. She slowly began to distance with loved ones and spent more time with him. His manipulation of Marissa, as I said, starts with the shared connection of mental health, but then he also tries to get her to feel close to him just as a friend. He does this by love bombing her a bit, taking her to his fancy house in Palm Springs or away for the weekend in LA. She starts to see him as a nice guy who is a friend who she can be vulnerable with and also have fun with. He then starts to use little things that she tells him about her loved ones, such as Ryan and her mom, to make her feel as though he is the one who can save her from these other relationships and treat her better than them. She begins to distance herself from loved ones, and he starts to increase his control. Here is a clip of Oliver controlling even Marissa's words, and you can see the tension with her friends.
You're not gonna get it?
She's not talking to Ryan right now.
Is she still talking to me, or are you doing all of her talking from now on?
Don't.
This is highly narcissistic behavior where one uses the guise of protection and care for their victim in order to control them. And as I said, he really exhibits this behavior by using sensitive information that Marissa tells him about her mom, Ryan, etc., to try to gaslight her into cutting ties with them and spending more time with him. Oliver also has a tumultuous history as explained in the show. He left his previous school because a restraining order was filed against him due to him being obsessed with a female student and attempting suicide because of it. It also seems as though he has been neglected by his parents, and he lives in a hotel by himself as he shares that his parents are never around. Oliver also engages in self-harm, as seen in the show, where he hits his own head very hard, breaks glasses in his hands, and uses self-deprecating language. Now, I do not use the term gaslighting lightly, as it has been used a lot recently and incorrectly in pop culture. This is a true case of gaslighting where one uses psychological abuse and manipulation to cause another person to question their judgments, insight, and choices.
I have to go.
No, please. Okay, I'm sorry. I always do this. Why do I always do this?
Oliver, stop it! Stop it! Oliver, stop! Okay, all right, it's okay.
Oliver is a habitual liar and fabricates for his own benefit. A big lie that he engages in to get Marissa close to him is that he has a long-distance girlfriend named Natalie. Ryan is suspicious of the existence of Natalie since the beginning, but Marissa doesn't find out until she is already in a scary situation when Oliver holds her hostage in his hotel room. Oliver also faked a suicide attempt to get attention from Marissa. This was a huge, awful lie where Oliver called and told Marissa that he took a bunch of pills and was scared, which caused Marissa to drop everything and come save him. Meanwhile, he was stashing the pills in a vase and dancing around drinking while he waited for her. So the infamous hostage situation. Marissa at one point feels that Oliver is the only one in her life that she can trust, and one day goes over to his hotel room to seek comfort. While there, she can tell that Oliver is being slightly controlling and weird, and she finds out then that he has been lying about his girlfriend, that she doesn't exist. So when Oliver is out of the room, she calls Ryan and asks him to come and get her because she doesn't feel safe. Oliver hears her make the call and comes into the room where Marissa is, distraught and holding a gun. He uses the gun to scare her into staying, and when Ryan and hotel security come to help, he threatens to shoot himself. Ryan talks him down and he drops the gun and he is escorted out by security. Here is a clip of the scary moment.
Marissa? Marissa!
Sir, don't move. Put the gun down.
Or what? You're gonna shoot me? Let me save you the trouble.
Come on, son.
You don't want to do that.
Put the gun down. Now.
Sorry. Oliver, put the gun down, man. Why, man? I'm doing you a favor. Why would you want to do that? You hate me. You're right, you do this. You won't hurt me. You'll hurt Marissa. One person that cares about you. And I know you don't want to do that. Oliver, put the gun down, man.
You don't know anything about me, man.
I know what it's like to be abandoned by your parents. Your friends. Have no one in your life who believes in you. But you put the gun down, you get a second chance.
As you can gather, Oliver is very disturbed and has a lot going on. Oliver's storyline was one of the most intense set of episodes that the show creates, and it adds to all the crap that Marissa has to go through on the show. So before I get to the diagnosis, here are the diagnoses that I am ruling out. First rule out is bipolar disorder, mania, and depression. So people online have said that Oliver has bipolar 1 disorder, but I don't think that is the right diagnosis. Bipolar 1 disorder is characterized by episodes of mania with possible depressive episodes, while bipolar 2 is characterized by hypomania with definite depressive episodes. This diagnosis doesn't seem right to me because Oliver doesn't exhibit episodes, but rather a consistent mood disturbance. Also, he does not present with the DSM definitions of mania and depression. Mania is described as a period of great excitement, euphoria, overactivity, and delusions. And depression is a low mood and loss of interest or pleasure in activities. Another rule out is antisocial personality disorder. And this was kind of a big one also that people have researched and kind of thought he has. A key symptom of antisocial personality disorder is the presence of a pervasive pattern of disregard for and violation of the rights of self and others. It definitely seems like Oliver has a disregard for others, but I wouldn't necessarily say he has a disregard for the rights of others. Disregard for the rights of others refers to more of violations of the law in terms of rights. Other DSM criteria of antisocial personality disorder include deceitfulness, impulsivity, irritability, and aggressiveness, recklessness, and lack of remorse. While Oliver does exhibit some possible signs of this, such as deceitfulness, irritability, and disregard for safety in others, it doesn't quite fit. Oliver does not seem impulsive, as he is very calculated with his actions and he knows what he's doing. The only real impulsive nature is when he hits himself on the head or when he pulled out the gun during the hostage situation. Otherwise, he is very deliberate in his actions. He also, at one point, and actually a few points probably, tries to harm Ryan in a reckless way, such as almost hitting him with his car, but his overwhelming care for Marissa makes this diagnosis insufficient. Also, there's no evidence that he had conduct disorder before the age of 15, which is necessary for an antisocial personality disorder diagnosis in adulthood. Conduct disorder is a condition that affects children and teens and is characterized by highly aggressive behavior, disregard for others, violation of rights, and disrespect of social standards and rules. Drum roll, please. Here is the diagnosis. My diagnosis of Oliver Trask is borderline personality disorder and narcissistic personality disorder. These are both cluster B personality disorders, which are defined by unpredictable, emotionally volatile behavior. This cluster of personality disorders does actually include antisocial personality disorder, so you might see some similarities. Although different disorders, there is actually research that suggests that as many as 40% of people with borderline also have narcissistic. I think Oliver's actions and challenges warrant both of these diagnoses, and here is why. Let's start with borderline personality disorder. Borderline has an onset in adolescence or early adulthood. It affects 3 times more males than females, and concerns are history of abuse, self-harm, suicidality, splitting, substance use, history of lying, tendency towards manipulation, and obsession. Check, 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 check for Oliver. So, history of abuse. As I stated previously, there is neglect from his parents. He lives alone in a hotel, and he has for a while. He also seems to have limited contact with his parents. Because he is a minor, he's under the age of 18, I think he's like 16 or 17, this is considered neglect of a minor. History of self-harm, yes, he hits himself in the head, as I said, and really, really hard. He faked a suicide attempt with Marissa, but it was also made clear in the past that he actually attempted suicide because of his obsession with the girl from the previous school. He also expresses suicidality during the hostage situation, where he turns the gun on himself for a moment and threatens to end his own life. He also seems to abuse alcohol and drugs, as seen by him buying cocaine, drinking a lot, and he hides this behavior from others. He also is a habitual liar and fabricates for his own benefit, in this case, getting the girl. And of course, manipulation and obsession, which I think there's been a pretty clear picture of how he does this to want to control Marissa. So now the narcissism. Symptoms of narcissistic personality disorder and how severe they are can vary. People with this disorder can have an unreasonably high sense of self-importance and require constant excessive admiration. So this is definitely seen in Oliver because he wants that admiration from Marissa. He wants her to think that he is the best thing and that she should be in love with him and date him rather than dating Ryan. People with NPD feel that they deserve privileges and special treatment, and a good example of this is when he takes the friend group to a concert and he gets them into the VIP section and back row passes and gets them to go into a side door. So a lot of special privileges, and he feels really cool for all those privileges and feels like he deserves to have that VIP treatment. People with this disorder are also preoccupied with fantasies about success, power, brilliance, beauty, or the perfect mate. So he's looking for the perfect mate in Marissa. They can also be critical of and look down on people they feel are not important. So this is exactly how Oliver treats Ryan and kind of the other members of the friend group also. He takes advantage of others to get what they want. That is a classic sign of NPD, and he definitely does that. He treats other people badly in order to get Marissa, which is what he wants. Another key sign is that Oliver behaves in an arrogant way. He brags a lot about his wealth and comes across as conceited. And he also insists on kind of having the best of everything and also giving the best of everything to Marissa in order to win her love or win her admiration. People with narcissistic personality disorder also have trouble handling anything that they view as criticism. They can react with rage and try to belittle other people to try to make themselves feel superior. They also can have major issues interacting with others and feel very sensitive to criticism. With that, there is the difficulty managing emotions and behaviors. So this all are, clear signs of what Oliver is experiencing. Other factors include withdrawing from or avoiding social situations in which they might fail, and having secret hidden feelings of insecurity, shame, or fear of being exposed as a failure. And it seems like Oliver really has that. He wants to be seen as this superior, wealthy, all-knowing, super compassionate person, and doesn't want to be seen for what he actually is, which is someone with a lot of challenges. And now that we have a diagnosis, here are my treatment recommendations. So, first off, following the hotel hostage gun situation, Oliver was most likely taken by hotel security, police were called, and the police most likely 5150'd him. A 5150 is when law enforcement and mental health professionals initiate a voluntary or involuntary detainment of someone who is experiencing a mental health crisis. A person is placed in a 72-hour psychiatric hospitalization when they are evaluated to be a danger to others, to themselves, or they are gravely disabled. Oliver was definitely a danger to himself and others, which is why I am assuming that a 5150 hold would be initiated. Following the 5150, I am hoping that Oliver's parents, of course, get notified of all of this and are more there for him and more supportive with his mental health care. And I am thinking that, his parents and his therapist or psychiatrist would probably place him in an intensive outpatient program or a residential program that specializes in treating severely disturbed teens. IOP and residential programs consist of all different therapeutic modalities, and I would definitely recommend the therapeutic approach of dialectical behavioral therapy, or DBT, which is the gold standard of treatment for borderline personality disorder and consists of managing emotions, exploring relationships, handling distress, and understanding the self. It is very structured and organized. And it also includes, and something that I would highly recommend is, of course, individual therapy with this, group therapy, and family therapy. Some intertwined cognitive behavioral therapy, acceptance and commitment therapy, strengths-based work, mindfulness, among other approaches, can also be really beneficial to Oliver and are usually intertwined in the treatment in these residential or IOP programs. There is not really a great psychotherapeutic treatment for narcissistic personality disorder, but I think that all the symptoms that he is having of NPD could be very well treated in the IOP and residential program with the DBT and other therapeutic approaches. There is also no clear medication treatment that is for BPD or NPD, but I do think that medication could be really beneficial to Oliver and could definitely help with the emotional reactivity, the suicidality, self-harm. So I would absolutely recommend medication as well. So after this wild Oliver saga, I personally, and I think other viewers, are left with the relief that Oliver is out of the lives of the main characters, and also sadness that this young teen is so troubled and needs so much mental health support. I hope in the parallel world of TV that Oliver Trask got the care and treatment that he needs. If anyone listening is struggling with their mental health, please call 988 or 911 to get help, reach out to loved ones, and know that you are not alone. Thank you for listening to Just Therapist Things, and I will talk to you soon.